I am not afraid to offend people, but I'm also not trying to just offend people.
Okay.
Train people. And
That's
it's
your
like,
thing.
here's the problem. I don't know.
Oh
Like,
my God.
So I had to just wait in Facebook timeout. For
So
30 days.
now, did you go through the appeals process and they gave you 30 days?
Listen, I talk to people at Facebook on the phone. Nobody ever does that.
Right.
But I am petty and stubborn.
Okay, so today I am excited about the guest that I have. This guy has over 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. He's got over 9,000 followers on Facebook. He's got over 10,000 followers on Instagram. And wait, over 1.9 million followers on TikTok. This guy, he is a pastor, a comedian, a husband, a father, just a good guy all around. So, how did that sound?
I mean, I guess that sounds fine to me.
So did I miss anything?
No.
So Lee, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me. My biggest thing is helping, and I mean this is your thing too, is to helping people understand marketing and really how whatever product or service organization they have, what they can do to leverage it. So our conversation is you're just killing it all the way across the board on social media, and I just want to know the behind the scenes. A lot of people don't talk about the behind the scenes. We see you on TikTok, we see you on Instagram, but the unsexy part is the work that has to be done to make that happen. Yeah. Some people think that, people just post stuff on social media and anybody could do it, but there's some work that's involved in doing that.
Now with ChatGPT, it made it a lot easier.
Well, but even with ChatGPT, we could talk about that. People think that you could just use it and it's going to just make up stuff. There's still some work, right? Especially
from a content creation side.
Yeah. So let's start off with YouTube. Even though we'll start off with YouTube.
I'm new to YouTube.
Now,
not new to posting. But
right.
I'm new to. I'm trying to build that base up.
So let's put it out there. YouTube, you've got over 2,000 subscribers, and that's nothing to play with. YouTube, in order to get credibility on YouTube, you got to get that 1,000. You have to get that 4,000. Yeah. And so you've got over 2,000. So I mean, what's been that journey like?
So really, I started YouTube because I make a lot of firearms content.
Okay.
And TikTok, of course. China.
Right.
So so that ain't happening there.
Right.
They are getting better about it. But so I started with YouTube, mainly making long form content, but then I've quickly realized the long form stuff takes so much work, so much time, especially from like a firearms perspective, costs a lot of money, and so forth. So that has been the slowest grind so far of all of them, and I'm not anywhere close to there yet. Okay. I'm still trying to figure out the algorithm, still trying to figure out what types of content work over there, and really just finding the workflow for YouTube.
Okay.
But right now I mainly do like vlogs when I go on trips to range days or trips to men's retreats and stuff like that. Okay. I do some like product reviews and stuff like that over there. Okay. And then upload shorts. Okay. I think I've probably got like 3,000 shorts on YouTube.
So you're really going from a different angle on YouTube than you are from TikTok.
It's kind of, it will be different than all of my other content. Okay. Less of the comedy, although I still try to add comedy in there. Right. But less of the comedy, more of like the showing more life stuff, but then also product placements, product reviews, that sort of stuff. Okay. So a little more serious over on YouTube. Okay. Even making jokes while I'm serious. Okay. So that's been difficult to try to find the types of stuff to post.
Okay.
You know? And what works best for me.
I mean, keep in mind, and I want to add, there are people who are just not getting on YouTube, and that first 1,000.
Yeah, the first 1,000's a grind, man.
Okay.
It took forever.
Okay.
I don't know where I am now.
You're 2.6.
Like 2.6,
Yeah.
2.7.
I got your numbers.
27.33. Look, I've gained a little bit in the last 28 days.
Okay.
Yeah, that is more of a grind, but also the reason it's been a grind for me is because it is going to be a different type of content.
Okay.
So I'm trying to find that niche for me over there.
So your other platforms, I mean, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you're kind of consistent. You kind of the same content.
Yeah, a lot of it's cross-posting.
Okay.
There's content on Instagram that is specific to Instagram. There's content on Facebook, of course, that's specific to Facebook, and TikTok too.
Okay.
Like some videos do really well on TikTok. I know they're not going to do well on any other platform, so I just don't even cross-post them.
Okay.
But then some don't do good on TikTok. I cross-post it and it goes crazy on Instagram.
So what can you? Well, I'm going to ask it. I want to come back to YouTube, but when you talk about content that you can post on TikTok that won't cross over, what do you mean by that?
Mainly content that I know is not going to resonate with the people, you know.
Okay.
The user base is different. I mean, you can even tell that from the comments, you know. The user base is different. People on Instagram are way more triggered than over on TikTok, so I can get away with a lot more stuff on TikTok and not upset people. Also, I'm coming at this from the perspective of a preacher, you know, so so I try not. I am not afraid to offend people, but I'm also not trying to just offend people.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
Like, I'm not trying to be offensive, but if I am, that's on you, not me.
Right.
Tim Hawkins, the comedian, has a great quote that the people that are offended deserve to be offended, and they need to be offended so they can learn how to not be offended.
Okay.
So, so some types of content just isn't. I just know it's not going to resonate on Instagram.
Okay.
And vice versa.
Okay.
You know? The thing is, I wish Instagram would get better with their editing, and they just released that Clips app that's bogus. Okay. But they're trying to replicate CapCut, and it's just not going to happen.
Right. Because CapCut is that TikTok?
It's owned by TikTok.
Okay. Yeah.
So when TikTok went down, CapCut went down, and I was like, jump, dude. I lost TikTok and I lost my main video
your editor. Yeah.
But yeah, so certain jokes I know just aren't going to resonate over there, or they're just going to offend people for no reason.
Wow, that is interesting.
Like for one, right now I've got a video that's doing really well on TikTok and really well on Instagram.
Okay.
And it's
hey, I hope you're enjoying the conversation. Just wanted to take a little break. I need you to do a couple of things. First, I need you to go ahead and like and subscribe. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. That helps me and helps people like you who are looking to listen to more conversations just like this that is just here to help business owners. The next thing is, are you a service-based business owner? And are you struggling to grow on social media? Are you struggling to get the customers and the clients that you truly want from your social media? Well, I've got 3 proven methods that I want to share with you. These methods I use and my clients use to grow their social media and to get the customers that they want, the customers and the clients that they want. Go ahead and go into the description, click the link, and I'll send these steps right over to you. But let's go ahead. Let's get back to the conversation.
on Instagram.
Okay.
And it's what if they invited a millennial to lead the choir at Pope Francis's funeral? And And so it's the song from Sister Act.
Oh, yeah.
So TikTok comments are hilarious.
Okay.
They're great. They're awesome.
Okay.
Instagram, I think it's got like 277,000 views or something on Instagram.
Yeah.
Almost 300,000.
Okay.
I think I might be swapping those up. It might be around 100,000. But anyways.
Okay.
All of the Instagram comments are, that movie came out in 1992. Millennials were only 11 years old. Like, they're just getting triggered.
Right.
That kind of offensive, you can get bent for all I care. I'm not worried about you. Because you're just pushing my analytics. But,
so yeah, and that's the thing. Good comments and bad comments. Any comment is like,
any comment's good.
Right. Good. Any news is good news.
Yeah.
Okay.
I comment on people all the time. They get super triggered, and I'm like, hey, I just want you to know I get paid for views. And every time you come back and comment, I'm loving it. I get 1 cent for every time you comment. Okay. So, something like that.
Right. Excuse me.
So, you can tell the difference in the user base based on like that. Like TikTok, they're all laughing, joking.
Right.
Pope Francis would have loved this.
Right.
John Paul would have loved this.
Right.
I don't know. I never met him. But
right.
But Instagram,
right,
a little more triggered.
Interesting.
Instagram comments can be savage. TikTok comments can be savage too, but not on my niche. Like, I don't get many hate comments on TikTok.
I don't look at, we'll talk about like age demographics. I just wonder because, you get people to say, well, Facebook is older, Instagram I guess will be the next, and then TikTok the third. But I don't know, because more people are getting on all the platforms.
Now I do buy into it with Facebook. Facebook skews older.
Okay.
There's no doubt about that.
Right.
Instagram and TikTok, I don't see that big of a difference.
Okay. Okay.
I think depending on your niche, I imagine there are some niches that are just not as big on Instagram.
Okay.
Because they are younger based.
Okay.
And it seems as though parents, for one reason or another, are more willing to let their kids on TikTok than they are Instagram, which is dumb.
Why?
Because it's basically the same thing.
Okay.
I've even talked with parents that are like, no, my kids don't have TikTok. That's bad for kids. Or my kids don't have Instagram. That's bad for kids. But they're on X. And it's like, let me take 5 seconds in the search bar of X and show you why your kids.
Because X, you can pretty much put anything.
Yes.
Anything.
And it's not just you have to search it. Like, I'm scrolling looking at political garbage.
From political to
there's like a tweet by some politician or something, and then underneath it are replies that are like, what? How is this allowed on the internet?
Right.
So I'm not convinced that that Instagram skews older than TikTok.
Okay.
Just from a user base.
Okay.
I know there are some statistics that show it slightly, but not as big. People say, well, TikTok's just a kid's app. Not really. It was, circa 2019. But as soon as COVID hit and all of us millennials went on there and ruined the app for everybody, we're having a blast. We don't care about y'all. But I don't think it skews older, at least not in my niche, my demographics.
I definitely want to talk more about Instagram and TikTok, but I want to go back to YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I don't care what anyone says. When you get over, and this is probably because I'm growing my YouTube, when you get over that 1,000 subscriber mark, that's big time for a lot of people. Yeah. Now, have you gotten to the point of monetized? Are you?
I'm just underneath it, and it's because I don't put enough content.
Okay.
If they counted shorts, I am way over monetization.
Okay. They do count shorts,
but in views, not in watch hours.
I got you. Okay.
So if they counted shorts in watch hours, I would have been monetized a year and a half ago.
Okay.
They do count it in views, but it's hard to get short views on YouTube.
Right. So
relatively speaking.
So you are it's the shorts that's kind of your thing versus you saying long form is just a whole nother.
Yeah,
okay.
like long form, the monetization is, I think, 4,000 watch hours.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken.
Right. It's 4,000.
1,000 subs.
Right.
So I'm like, I hover right at like 3,500. Like I'm right there. If I could just find time to post some more long form stuff, I'd be monetized.
So no real, like you're not really sparked to be like let me get into this YouTube.
Not once I hit that monetization, y'all gonna get tired of me. Cause I'm listen. That's the thing about any of these social media apps. As soon as I hit monetization, I'm like, all right. Now's the time to roll.
But I mean, that's interesting you say that because like you're so close, but it's kind of like
yeah.
But it's kind of like well, you tread there. But once you get there, then you'll
push it. But then also like coming from a firearms content perspective.
Okay.
You know, anytime I go to record a long form video, I'm shooting probably $200 worth of ammo.
Okay.
Oh. So you got to think a long form video is $200.
Shoot.
Plus, you might have to buy a new gun for it. You might have to buy a new piece of equipment.
Well, do you have to shoot? Like, can you just like talk about the gun or cleaning the gun? Or
yeah, you can, but that's no fun. Nobody wants to watch you clean a gun.
Well, maybe it's a tutorial. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't do many tutorial type stuff.
Okay.
Like my product reviews on YouTube are more like just shooting it, telling about first impressions and so forth. So that's like I even had this conversation with my wife about a week ago. Like about a week ago. Anyways, my brain thinks in TikTok sounds.
Okay.
I was like, well, as soon as I can monetize YouTube, then it starts paying for itself.
Okay.
Right. And then I can push more.
Right.
So
yeah, because
I make $100 on a video.
Right.
I spend that $100 on ammo for the next video.
Because you have those TikTok videos where you indirectly talk about sneaking to the gun store or getting a new gun or whatever. So that this you could justify paying for that hobby.
I am. All right. Listen, I got an idea. I'm gonna tell y'all. This is breaking news. I got an idea for a series. I go to all these gun events.
Okay.
Right? Most of them know I'm coming. But I'm going to stop telling them I'm coming. And my goal is to sneak into every single gun event in the U.S. So I'm going to try to sneak in the SHOT Show. I love you. Okay? Calm down. The SHOT Show is crazy.
Okay.
I accidentally snuck into a gun conference last year, and my video did pretty well, and I thought it was funny. And I registered and everything else, so don't get triggered, okay?
Yeah.
But I was fully registered for the next day. Did not realize it. Walked in the back door, and I was like, I'm in the middle of this why am I here? And then I called them. They were like, yeah, you're not supposed to be here tomorrow. And I was like, well, I'm here now. And so they changed my registration. So I'm gonna start doing stuff like that, more fun stuff, long form stuff that is firearms related.
Okay.
But I might not sneak in the SHOT Show. SHOT Show, please don't ban me from the. I really want to go. Okay. But that's kind of been the idea is if I can get YouTube self-sufficient, then that's fine. Because coming from a short form content creator side of things, spending $200 on a video is like, why would I can sit in my studio and record a 15-second video that gets 1 million views. So that's kind of been the thing that's holding me back on YouTube is just time and the cost and the workflow of the platform. And for the vision that you have. Yeah. Because you could do some different stuff. And I can show off my abilities a little more on YouTube. So I'm more more anal about the way things look. On TikTok, as long as I got good framing, I'm good. Okay. But YouTube, I get to play with editing, play with the thumbnails, etc. And so that takes me more time because I'm more of a perfectionist over on YouTube.
Okay. So YouTube, I think we're good. I like the idea that you're saying, hey, you're working on it, but you've got your own vision that's separate from YouTube. So let's talk about something that you don't really, even though this is still the largest social media platform, but you don't really hear people talking about. Let's talk about Facebook. So you've got over 9,000 followers on Facebook, still a platform you use. You get people to say that Facebook's old. Why are you still using Facebook?
So I had all but given up on Facebook until about 2 months ago. I had a page. I have a page that I tried, and it was frustrating seeing people stealing my TikTok content, acting like they're me, taking my profile picture, everything, making a Facebook page, getting millions of views, crazy views on Facebook. And I'm sitting there posting to my actual legitimate page and getting nothing. And so I was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm just not going to do Facebook anymore. And I started just posting it to my personal account.
Okay.
And they started doing really well. So I've ditched the idea of the page. I'm just not going to upload anymore over there. But my personal profile, I'll just run that one as if it was a content.
Now it's been a little while, but it's my understanding that they've actually started to integrate the personal page, making it more from a personal profile to a page.
If you turn it into a professional account.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So have you done that, or okay?
Yeah. So you can turn your personal profile into a professional account, and then you get followers instead of add friends. You get more. You actually get analytics before you do that. You don't get any analytics about your personal profile. And you can turn on monetization and all that stuff.
Have you done that?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just kind of running, but at the same time, it's my personal Facebook page. So like, I'll post in there like, does anybody know where I can get some firewood, or like stupid stuff that people normally post on their Facebook page. Right. I still post that stuff too. So, and it might change over time, but right now it's a professional account that I also use as my personal. Okay. And Facebook's got this absolutely ridiculous ID verification stuff and all that. Yeah. So like a few months ago, I was running socials for a client. They got dinged for a couple posts that I wasn't even running the page when it posted. It was like from 2 years ago. They got dinged. I lost my personal monetization, my personal ability to run Facebook pages for 30 days, all this stuff. And so I got really frustrated, and I was like, you know what, I'll just create another account and I'll run all my client work off that other account. Well, I can never have a new Facebook page ever in my entire life because I ID authenticated it. Right. They didn't tell me that when I was ID authenticating it. So I had to just wait in Facebook timeout for 30 days.
Now, did you go through the appeals process and they gave you the 30 days?
Listen, I talk to people at Facebook on the phone. Nobody ever does that. Right. But I am petty and stubborn. And I found phone numbers and I called and I was like, this is wrong. Yeah. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm being affected. I'm losing money because I can't run my clients. I had to refund some clients. Some of the clients were okay with it. I was able to create some workarounds and share from Instagram to their Facebook pages and so forth. So we were able to string it along. But I talked to him. I was like, I'm losing money because your platform, your algorithm, mistakenly flagged content that wasn't even that passed appeal. It passed appeal, but now I'm still hurt when I wasn't even on the account when the post went live. I didn't do anything wrong. The post was even appealed and brought back, and I'm still in timeout.
So that's deep for us. For those of us who manage multiple accounts, we could actually get flagged for our clients.
For your clients before you were even on the account.
Wow.
Yeah, like 2 years before I was on the account.
Wow.
I think the stuff was from like 2022.
Wow, that's something to know because I know I manage quite a few pages. You manage quite a few pages, so wow. Now I heard through the grapevine, or maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it. You know, I've heard of people that have used like a wife's account or a family member's account.
Yeah, if you want to lie, then you can. No, that's your prerogative. No, but so from Facebook, direct from Facebook representatives on the phone. The reason I got flagged was because I was added to the business profile, not the page management.
So is that the best thing
on the page?
Is that a better way to go, to be the manager or the admin versus actually being like an administrator on the page?
Well, so there's two different sides of it. This is kind of in the weeds. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're getting in the weeds.
So you can be added as an admin of the Facebook page, and you can create content, delete comments, manage messages,
right?
All that stuff. You can even run ads from there.
Okay. Because it gives you all those.
Yeah, but then if you go into the business settings, so not the page settings, the business account settings. If you're on the business.facebook.com, the icon changes. So instead of the profile picture, it'll be just like the old basic like solid color with a letter. If you're in the business account and it gets flagged. So my problem was one of my clients had paid outside firm to run some ads in 2022. Then 2024 came on the scene, and at the beginning of 24, I signed them as a client. Did you see that? That was pretty cool. Anyways, at 2024, I was added to the account on the business account. So that I could run ads and so that I could manage. We were doing some very specific stuff on Facebook that I needed the business account for. So I added in. Well, that person that ran the ads back in the day was still on the business account, and their personal account got deleted from Facebook for problematic content. And then it looked at the page, because it looks, whenever your personal profile gets flagged, it looks at everything you're attached to. So it went to everything they're attached to, and they found a couple ads from back in 2022 that this person had run that were against community guidelines, supposedly. So so then it put us in timeout. It put everybody that was associated with the account in timeout. Then we appealed those, got those posts back, but because we were connected through the grapevine to this person, they wouldn't remove the flags off of my personal account. So the only way around that was I had to be removed from the business account. So we had to pause what we were doing, some like insider stuff.
Yeah.
We had to pause what we were doing on their business account. Remove me from it until I got past the timeout period, and then we removed that old person from the business account and added me back. So yeah, it was a fiasco, man, and it was all because nobody can find people to work these days in their content moderation departments. And so it's all done by algorithm,
right.
And an algorithm will make a mistake.
Right.
A human will make a mistake too.
Right.
But an algorithm will make a mistake on content moderation 100% of the time. If there's certain things in that video that are construed by the algorithm in a way that they weren't. You know what I mean? So, so that was a big headache for about, I think it was like 30, 45 days, something like that.
Wow.
But we got all that fixed. So.
Were you able, with these clients, were you able to leverage any other platforms during that time, or was okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I only have a couple clients that I run single platforms on.
Okay.
And we were still able to post to my clients' accounts on Facebook, but with the workaround of post it on Instagram, go into the Instagram account, and share it from Instagram to Facebook, because then it's not coming from me, it's coming from the Instagram account. Okay. So it's not coming from my profile, it's seeing it as it's coming straight from straight from Instagram.
Tell me about the appeals process.
On Facebook?
Yes.
It's bogus. Absolute bogus. You appeal.
Right.
It says no. You say something's wrong. If you're persistent enough, you will get a DM from somebody from Facebook. They'll put it, they'll escalate the system or the problem, and then the actual content moderation people will look at it.
Explain to me persistent. How persistent?
Well, first off, they don't make it easy. You gotta kind of know what you're doing. You kind of gotta know the language of social media, and then it's probably 10 or 12 steps. Go to this, go to this, go to this, go to this, go to this. Finally, you get to where you can DM someone.
So to the point of, let's weed all these folk out who are trying to appeal. Let's weed them out, because we make it some steps. Maybe some of these folk will just give up.
Well, I'm convinced the UX designers at Facebook are all high when they're designing that app. The user experience and user interface designers. I can show you how bad it is just by try to add somebody as an admin on your Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Try to find out how to do that.
It changes. Yeah, it changes.
So anytime I onboard a new client, I'm like, all right, listen, let's set a time for about 3 hours of the day, just in case.
And you need to have a client right there.
And I'm on the phone with them. And I'm walking through the steps. All right, click this. Now click this. Now click this. Now type my email in. All right, now do this. Now do this. And it's different every single time I try to onboard a new client.
Yeah.
The buttons move, the verbiage changes. I don't know what is going on at Facebook to make it so ridiculously convoluted, but their UX on the business side of things, on the page management side of things, is horrible. And then you Google it and you find a blog article from Facebook and you're like, yes, this is how to do it. Oh wait, that blog article was written 6 months ago and they haven't written a new one to show the new updates. Or it was written 5 years ago and the platform is completely different now and they haven't posted a new blog article to show how to do it yet. Because they don't know. Because the people in charge of the blogs don't know that the dinguses in the UX department are changing things up every day and a half,
So let me ask you this. So with that frustration, why not?
Can you tell I'm frustrated? Anyway.
Yeah. With that, why not say, I'm going to abandon Facebook altogether and just focus on other platforms?
You could, yeah.
Could you?
Depends on the client. I have some clients that don't use Facebook.
Really? And can still get the traffic? Can still get? Okay.
Yeah. Just depends on the client. Just depends on the niche. Like a couple of my firearms companies that I manage, they aren't on Facebook.
Yeah, because Facebook is really, really like anti-firearm, aren't they?
No, they've gotten much better.
Okay.
But it's still just a pain.
Yeah.
So some of them, like I tell them, we can create a Facebook page. It's gonna last 15 days. And then you're gonna get deleted. And then we're all gonna be in trouble. And let's just not do it.
Wow.
Some of them, I run a couple church accounts, stuff like that. Yeah, we're gonna use Facebook. But for the most part, I think the industry is moving away from Facebook. Just because it's so hard to keep your account, There's a shop here in our area in Columbus. They post on Instagram every month. Hey, we got a new Facebook account. Y'all, you're gonna get banned from Facebook forever. Just stop. I've even talked to him like, let me help you. Let me run the account. I'll show you how to not get flagged.
Right.
It's not hard.
Right.
It's just you got to know the rules.
Right.
No, we're gonna do it because we want them to keep deleting because it helps us. No, it doesn't. It doesn't help you. You look like fools. And all you're gonna do is get banned from all Meta platforms eventually. You know. And then you're going to lose Instagram, which is a massive part of the industry. So. So the Creative South Foundation is a nonprofit here in Columbus. We do an event every year called Creative South. It's graphic designers, social media designers, artists, any kind of creative. So we do a giant convention here in town that nobody knows about, but we do Creative South every April. The foundation provides tickets to Creative South. I mean, we have like big designers, big artists. Alan Peters, who's a very, probably the top of the graphic design branding world right now. He spoke this year. The guy that did the Instagram logo spoke a few years ago. Creative South Foundation provides students, college students, tickets to Creative South so they can come. And then when they come, we give them a grant that provides them, or a scholarship rather, that provides them some money for school. We usually give them like a new iPad, new MacBook, something like that to help them with school, etc. So it's a good. This is technically the Creative South office, but the four of us work out of it.
What inspired Creative South?
Mike Jones. He'd be an awesome interview. He is an amazing branding designer and hand letterer. That's his hand lettering, of course. It's his organization, so he did it. But he is a top tier designer, specifically in branding and lettering and stuff like that. And in 2010, I believe, he started Creative South here in Columbus. It used to be, for a long time, it was at the Springer, and then he moved it to the Trade Center a few years ago, and it's grown since then. So now we're starting to look at options and stuff like that. But it's basically just a giant family of graphic designers and artists and creatives that come together every year. We have talks, we do workshops, we hang out, we rent the 14th Street walking bridge, rent it out and do a giant party, and we do a Ink Wars where it's a 4x8 sheet of plywood that we paint white. We get 8 artists, we give them a prompt and an hour and paint pens, and they have 1 hour to design the board and execute the board, and then the crowd picks the winner.
Wow.
So it's awesome.
And so you just had it?
A couple weeks ago.
Okay.
So we usually have around 700, 800 creatives come to Creative South. And we kind of limit the tickets because of the space. This year we were slammed, so.
Look, so in between, are there anything mini between now and next year that's done?
No, not really.
Okay.
The idea has come about to do some mini stuff, but Creative South is such an undertaking that it really takes a full year to plan it.
Gotcha. So I already started planning for next year.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm glad we talked about that. Going back, we're gonna leave Facebook alone.
All right. Facebook and I have a love-hate relationship.
Yeah,
more on the side of hate.
But I think depending on who you talk to, talk about it being important, not being important, but like you said, it depends on the niche.
Depends on the niche.
Yeah. So let's talk about Instagram. What's your feel on Instagram?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the catch-all for everybody. There are some clients that don't need to be on TikTok, some clients that don't need to be on Facebook. Instagram is a platform for everybody.
Why would you say that?
Well, like with TikTok, company accounts don't do very well unless you have a face of the company that can make jokes and make stupid dance videos and follow trends and stuff like that. Instagram, you can build your following base a little easier if you don't have that, right? Because it's moving toward, there for a while it was moving toward video, They were trying to take over TikTok. Then I think they kind of realized that TikTok's not going anywhere, regardless of how many times you try to lobby Congress to get rid of it. Morons. But you can try to get rid of it. It's not going anywhere. And so now they've switched. And so now you're seeing carousels and graphics pushing more in the algorithm on Instagram. It's going to be really hard for somebody to convince me that that's not because Facebook realized that they can't beat TikTok. They tried. It's the same thing as they pushed stories so hard when they were trying to beat Snapchat. They realized they're never going to beat Snapchat, so they backed off stories. Same thing. They tried the video content. They're not going to beat. Now it still does well. Don't hear me saying that video doesn't do well on Instagram. But I think they've realized that they're not going to beat TikTok, and so they're going to start doing what they should have been doing the whole time, which is pushing Instagram content. You know, images, carousels, graphics, video, reels, and stuff. If Instagram fixed the reels editing system inside Instagram, I feel like their reels would do way better. It's just so hard to edit a reel on Instagram, and then you post it, and it's different than what showed on your video. You know, so they're just having some problems with UX on there, but yeah, Instagram kind of it's a little bit of everything. You know, you got stories that you can use, you've got video, you've got carousels, you've got graphics. I feel like the search feature on Instagram is getting better. You know, they've moved away from hashtags. Hashtags really don't matter on Instagram anymore. Now it's all SEO, which means if you're going to be a social manager on Instagram, you've got to know SEO now. Because used to, we could just throw some hashtags on there and get looped into those hashtags and be done.
So for all our folk that search engine optimization, SEO, that not familiar with SEO, let's talk about SEO.
Yeah.
So expand more on the SEO when it comes to Instagram.
SEO is essentially, how would I define this? Learning how to speak to an algorithm. Because it's all algorithm based. All of it. The search engines, inside the platforms. TikTok is also going SEO based, but their search engine is not nearly as good as Instagram's. But it's learning how to speak to an algorithm in either, if it's a video, in your hook or in your captions. If it's a graphic, it's in the text on the graphic and your caption. But all that's searchable now. So, and it's that's what they're pushing now more than hashtags. I think probably in may not even be that long, but maybe 5 years, hashtags on all the platforms are going to be kind of useless. Now, they're kind of useless now, but
that, you know, my understanding, hashtags really started off with Twitter, with X.
There again, Instagram tried to steal. Dude, listen, I'm telling you, Mark Zuckerberg is the epitome of a creative. If you are not stealing, you are not designing. That's like, you've got to get inspiration from other people. Yeah. And Mark Zuckerberg, if you come up with a good platform or a good idea, that joker's gonna steal it. And he's gonna make it into it's gonna be put on Instagram.
Or he'll try to buy it, and if he
or he'll try to buy it, and if he can't buy it, he's gonna try to replicate it. And you know, they replicate it as best they can. But yeah, hashtags started on Twitter back in the day, and they were really, really useful. They started on Instagram. They were really, really useful. People would follow hashtags. I mean, when was the last time you heard somebody following a hashtag on Instagram? Doesn't happen anymore. So now it's more search engine optimization, trying to learn the algorithm and algorithms are specific to the platform. You know, each platform has their own algorithm, so you got to kind of learn how to speak to each one of them. But a basic level of SEO, which, you know, go on Google, go on YouTube, search learn basics of SEO. That will help you a lot more than these ridiculous paid subscriptions for finding the new hashtags. You know, you see ads and all that garbage all over Facebook and Instagram about, are you a content creator? Download our app and pay $9.99 a month and we'll give you all the best hashtags. No one cares about hashtags anymore, so you're just taking people's money for no reason.
So question, somebody is getting on Instagram for the first time. They're starting off, they got no followers, and they want to skyrocket. What do you tell them?
Post once a day. And that is specific to the algorithm. That's specific to the algorithm.
Okay.
Instagram, you can hurt yourself by posting too much.
Okay.
TikTok, you can't. That's part of their algorithm. You can post, like people try to tell me, I want to grow my TikTok account. Okay, well, you're not going to do it. I tell them every time, I'm going to tell you how to do it. You're not going to do it. No, I'll really do it. I think we talked about this last time. I'll really do it. No, you won't. Okay, well, here, I'm going to tell you how to do it. Post 9 times a day for 6 months. And they're going, that's too much. Well, I told you you weren't going to do it.
Right.
If you want the job, you've got to be willing to grind. And if you're not willing to put the grind in, you're not going to succeed. Instagram, you can hurt yourself by posting too much. So at most, I would say probably 3 posts a day.
What are you doing?
Personally, about 3. And that's specific, like 3 videos a day. If you're doing graphics, probably 1 or 2 times a day. But if you want to do a mixture of both, you want to have a story a day, you want to do, 1 story, 1 graphic, 2 videos, that's fine. But you have to be much more thoughtful in your content on Instagram.
To explain thoughtful, what do you mean?
Like, don't just spam post. Instagram or TikTok, I spam. Like, Joker, I come in here, or if I'm wherever I am for the day, I usually spend about an hour and I record as many videos as I possibly can. So that might be 15 videos in an hour. Because TikToks, they're 15 seconds long, thereabout. Sometimes shorter, sometimes longer. If you're going to do longer form stuff on TikTok, it takes a little bit longer. But, I'll record as many times as I can. And then, or as many pieces of content as I can. And then I post. And if they don't do well, I private that junk and move on like it never happened.
So, well, I don't want to get into TikTok because I do got some questions on the TikTok.
But on Instagram, you need to be more thoughtful. You can't just spam posts. Like, if you know a video's not gonna do very well on Instagram, don't make the video. Don't post it. If you know what you're doing, rather, and you know it's not gonna do well, don't post it.
So, story. What any strategies? Does the story really help when you're putting things in story?
Yeah, I think stories do help. I think stories that are either I think stories, the best way to use stories on Instagram is to build your community. So resharing other people's content to your story, I think that's where I just did it again. Yeah. I got the ADHD, so I got to have something twirling in my hand at all times.
That's all right.
But I think using the stories to grow your community on Instagram is very helpful. I don't do a lot of story specific content for any of my clients or myself, but I will share other stuff, so like I run the socials for a holistic doctor out of Texas. Okay. And so we share a lot of other people's content on her stories. It works really well to grow your community.
So that along with the share, that's tagging them, letting them know.
And they know that you shared.
Right.
When you open up your notifications on Instagram, it'll say like story mentions. you click that. I go through every day, a couple times a day sometimes, and like, let's see if I can do it right now. Yeah, so I go through and I watch this, where they posted my stuff to their stories. Can you tell which video is going live on? Right. But I like it, and so they get a notification that I saw it. Right. You know. Right. And going through and doing that, sharing other people's content. You're scrolling the explore page or your home page on Instagram. You see something that you like, throw it up on your story. They get notification that you shared it, and then sometimes they'll check you out. But it also just helps to grow the community base on there.
All right, so let's talk TikTok.
Okay.
TikTok, 1.9 million.
Yeah.
And growing on TikTok.
Yeah, sort of.
Why?
Very slowly.
Okay.
Very slowly.
Okay. I mean,
I think I've been at 1.9 for like a year and a half now. Okay. But they changed the algorithm on me, and that kind of slowed it down a lot. So
how has it changed? Have you noticed?
I mean, TikTok's algorithm, you can tell every time they edit the algorithm, or they retrain it, or they update something in it, because like your videos will tank for a week. I'll go from 100,000 views on videos to 200 views on videos for a week, and then all of a sudden it'll pop back off. They did something to the algorithm, they updated something, they retrained something, and then it takes a while to get back on the FYP. So they did that about a year and a half ago, and that really
as I figure out what's going on with TikTok, well, it is what it is.
TikTok algorithm knows more than you think they know.
Okay.
If you are driving down the road, the example I always use, if you're driving down the road and you record a TikTok, it knows you're driving. It knows whether or not you have a seatbelt on. If you don't have a seatbelt on, they're going to limit those views, if they even leave the video up, period. The TikTok algorithm, the reason, I'm not going to get into my my hatred of the ridiculousness that is our government, okay? But the reason why people want TikTok out of the US is because they know how to make an algorithm that nobody else can figure out how to make. I mean, that's the only reason. They're eating everybody's lunch and nobody can figure out how they're doing it. And the reason they're doing it, the reason they're being so successful, I think, is because they listen to the people more than they listen to the bottom line. They're making, dude, TikTok's printing money. But they actually listen to the user base of what the algorithm, what the platform needs. The other platforms don't do that. They don't listen to people. And I think that's what is keeping TikTok ahead of all the others. I don't know statistics about user base or numbers or anything like that, but
They say it's the fastest growing. It's the fastest growing platform.
People love TikTok. People use Instagram. Do you know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
They like, TikTok is a community. Instagram is a place where you post and stuff.
All right, so I asked the same question when it came to Instagram. So let's talk TikTok. Person jumps on, they're wanting to grow their TikTok. You had mentioned nine times. So what is it? What is it? Because I'm sure it's not just anything. What type of content?
Yeah. So my suggestion is find the accounts that follow trends. There are some good ones that I can never remember their names. But find the accounts that follow trends that say, hey, this sound is popping off or this trend is popping off or whatever. Do those trends. Just follow the trends. Find your niche. Figure out how you can use that trend for your niche. And then as you get used to it, you'll get better at doing that, You'll get better at learning what's going to do well, what's not going to do well. You'll get better at seeing trends before they start, you know, when they're just starting. My thing is, if I'm scrolling FYP on TikTok and within 2 or 3 minutes I see 2 or 3 videos using the same sound or using the same niche or the same trend, it hasn't become a trend yet. You know, it's not every post. You know, you get the stupid corn video, it's corn, big lumpy knobs, or whatever that stupid sound was. That was like every single you got
TikTok, and really my question would be, let's go back to the new user. They just get on TikTok. That's what we're talking about. Them, you know, the type of content they would need to grow on TikTok.
So I wouldn't start posting content immediately. I would build my community, because TikTok is based community really, really hard. So that wasn't a good sentence, but anyways.
No,
but I would scroll the FYP, find your niche, start commenting, interacting, find fellow creators that are new or that are smaller that you can interact with and stuff and become a community with. And then, you know, people you want to hang out with kind of thing. Find them and then start posting your content, because you're going to have a base there already. You know, friends, like actual friends. You know, some of my best friends I met through TikTok. And you're going to build that community first. I would spend probably a month doing that, just being active on the platform, commenting, liking, sharing in the DMs, that sort of stuff, and then start posting your content.
Okay. Well, at what point is it 10,000? At what point does TikTok start paying some nickels, some dimes, some dollars?
I'm not sure. I think it's changed. I think it's changed.
Okay.
So it used to be 1,000 followers you could go live.
Right.
10,000 followers you can monetize, and then 100,000 followers you got into the creator marketplace.
Okay.
I think they've changed that, because I see people with like 200 followers going live now.
I'm 400, almost 500.
Yeah, so
live, so
they've changed that stuff around. So I'm not 100% sure the levels.
Yeah.
I think it's still 10K for the creator. What's it called? Where you get paid per view, right. but they've changed that where you only get paid per qualified view on videos that are over a minute long. Okay.
Let me go into, let me ask, because this goes across the board with all platforms. So you know, people always want to know, you know, monetizing on different platforms to get the check from platforms, but what are some of the other ways that you could actually create income and create revenue?
So the TikTok shop is huge.
Okay.
I don't know at what point you can become a TikTok shop creator.
Okay.
I think it's probably 1,000 now. I'm not 100% sure.
What are some things you're doing as far as other ways to...
So TikTok shop, I do some TikTok shop videos, product placement, you know, brand deals type thing in your videos. And just, I would start with just trade for those. And then once you get a following, once you get that built up, then you can start saying, you know, a video's $1,000 or a video's however
At what point
do
you think you can get to the point from trade to actually asking for dollars? You know, is there a number? Is there like a sign? Do you get a sense of something?
I think it's probably more of a sense. Like if your brand deals are getting good traction, and you can show good traction, and you can show, you know, I can show this many clicks on that link from my video or from my account or whatever. And so like get you a link tree or something that you can track metrics with. And then you put it in the link tree. You make a video about it. You put the link in your link tree. Then you can show I generated this many clicks. Nowadays, everybody and their sister has an affiliate program, and so you can track how many purchases were made through your affiliate.
link. And
Are you doing affiliates?
Yeah,
Okay.
some, not a lot, but some. But yeah, I think it's more of a feel kind of thing. Once you get to that point where you know, all right, I'm actually adding benefit to the partner, then you can say, okay, I can start charging. And I would start, $100 a video, something like that.
All right, so are you doing just Instagram and TikTok? Are you doing any other platforms as far as affiliates and brand deals?
Yeah, across all my platforms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Lee, we talked about this before, but this is going to be posted in the next couple of days, and definitely going to be around too, because I got a lot more questions, and I'm sure I get a lot more questions. I really appreciate you getting so detailed, because I really do this for me, because I'm taking the mental notes.
Well, and it's hard for me. Like, one of my friends said, man, you should put together some sort of training program to train people. And it's like, here's the problem. I don't know.
Oh my God. So we just this podcast is gonna be about 45 minutes of this guy saying, I don't know. And I would even say, I would challenge, put in the comments how much stuff you learned from him, talking about all the stuff.
But a lot of it's feel. Like, I've been doing social media for 15 years, social media marketing for clients for 15 years.
Right.
So a lot of it's kind of like shooting from the hip kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, I can't explain to you why this is going to work, but I know it's going to work.
Right.
And I've had clients tell me, like, I don't think that's going to work. I know it will. Just like a few years ago, I had a client that was like, man, that's a lot of money for monthly management, which is my pet peeve. Okay, not going to get into this, but if you run a business and you say, I need help with my social media, and then you say, but I only want to spend $100 a month on my social media, you don't want help for your social media. I mean, that's just all there is to it. But I had a client that was like, that's a lot of money. I don't think we can do that. And I had a client recently that canceled our contract because it was like, it's too much money. And I was like, okay, well, that's fine. So, so I was like, all right, let me do you a favor. I'm going to give you a discount for 1 month. I'm going to cut my management in half, and I'm just going to show you what can happen. And so he was like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. We'll do it 1 month and see what'll happen. And I said, okay, I want you to turn your notifications off. And he said, why? And I said, because your phone is going to die. As soon as I get account privileges, your notifications are going to kill your battery. He was like, no, that's not. I never get any traction on social media. Like 21 days later, he called me and was like, all right, so about this monthly management stuff, how do I do this? Like, I don't know. I can just tell you that's going to work. And a lot of it is just feeling from doing it for so long. And I do know a lot of the back end, a lot of the tricks and stuff like that, but some of it's like just kind of a feeling, you know.
Do you have, say, top 5 niches that you love working with? Because I know you pretty much.
I work with everybody, like holistic doctors, restaurants, firearms industry.
Do you have any favorites?
I like working in the firearms industry, just because that's what I know best, or churches. Because of course I know that really well, supposedly.
I like that. Firearms, churches. I like
small businesses. And kind of, I like working with entrepreneurs that are grinders, that are gonna work harder than I do. Which is, I mean, there's one thing that I'm not egotistical about it, but I know that it's true that I will work harder than everybody around me, and sometimes that is a serious flaw, you know, and I know that. But I like working with entrepreneurs that are gonna grind it. And when I text them or I call them and I say, hey, I need this type of content this month, I know this is gonna work. I want entrepreneurs that and small business owners that will say, all right, let's run it. You know what I mean?
You run into any issues where the trust factor, the client that comes in and says, well, I want this, this, and this, and it might.
Yeah, they say this is exactly what I want.
Right.
I don't have those clients.
Okay.
I pass those to Lou. No, I don't have those clients because there's an old joke in graphic design, which I do a ton of graphic design and branding and so forth.
Right.
There's an old joke that my hourly is this.
Right.
If you tell me how to do my job, my hourly doubles.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
So same thing. If I get a client that says, I have this, and this. This is how I want my Instagram to look. These are the types of content I want to post 3 times a day. I tell them, okay, I'm not the person for you.
Yeah.
And my general rule is, if somebody says I took a course and I need you to run my account, and I took this course to show me what I need to do on social media, I'm not going to take that client.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I tell anybody that if you're going to hire a company to do your social media that are professionals that manage other accounts, and then you're going to tell them what to do, you need to hire a staffer.
Yeah,
that's because
you need a staff member.
You need a staff member that you're paying hourly.
And then when it doesn't work, you can fire them and hire me.
Right? Because I mean, honestly and truthfully, we have been trying to do this.
Yeah, and one of my pet peeves that I've recently been talking to some friends about is people will, and this goes back to the feel type thing. People will hire me for their social media for 3 months, 6 months, something like that. They see how I run it, and then they go, all right, well, listen, we're going to have to cancel. It's just a lot of money, and we're going to have one of our office managers run the socials. Basically, what you just told me is you watched how I did it, and now you think you can replicate it. And the problem is that staffer, I got a TikToker calling me right now. That staffer doesn't have the experience.
Right.
And so it looks really easy, which is why there are so many social media managers. Everybody with a phone thinks they're social media managers, and they don't get any ROI for their clients. Right. Because they see how someone else does it and they just want to replicate that. And if you're not willing to put in the grind and learn it and actually go to school, I'm not talking about go take some course, but like
do it.
The school of hard knocks. Right. If you're not willing to learn how to do it, then you're taking people's money and you're lying to them. Mm-hmm. And I've never been to a social media manager convention. Probably 75% of social media managers, I think, are scamming people. I genuinely believe that. Because I've taken their clients.
What do you think is the best way for someone to vet a social media manager?
Don't just look at their past clients. Look at the good metrics from their past clients. So don't just look at, oh, he ran this Instagram account and it has 100,000 followers. Look at, all right, during the months he ran this Instagram account, what was the engagement like? Because 9 times out of 10, they were running ads to increase their following base, and that's it. You know, I've met social media managers that literally say, all of our paid ads that I have my clients run are for followers, to push followers, because then they can go to other clients and they can say, look, I had this account for 6 months and it went from 10,000 followers to 50,000 followers. Now the engagement was trash. Nobody liked it. Nobody commented. Nobody shared it.
And then they get customers.
But they get more customers.
Right.
And I get those customers on a monthly basis. I get people calling me that are like, hey, we don't think this is going to work. We hired a social media manager. It didn't work. We gained followers, but we had no sales. We had no interactions. Right. We didn't really see an ROI. Yeah. What is different about you? And my first thing is, I don't care how many followers your account has.
Right.
I genuinely don't.
The followers is not.
No. Yeah. I'm looking, every time I log into Instagram to one of my clients and I see that thing that says when you go to your your profile, and it says professional dashboard, blank accounts reached in the last 30 days.
Right.
That's what I care about.
Okay.
I don't care, like this client I have, let's see right here. All right, 146,000 Instagram followers, 1 million accounts reached in the last 30 days.
Okay.
That's what I care about.
Okay.
I don't care how many followers your account has. I care how many people are seeing the content.
So that's the important metric. Seeing the content, because if they see your content, that's going to lead to sales.
Yeah. Just like Instagram.
Followers from India,
yeah.
If they're not your.
Just like Instagram, like my personal account, right? So I have 10.5. I just hit 10.5 thousand Instagram followers. Y'all need to go follow me on Instagram if you like fart jokes.
I'm gonna post it up. Follow
if you like fart jokes and Jesus, you're gonna love my Instagram. But I have 10.5 thousand followers. That's a micro influencer at best. At best. Most micro influencers go up to about 30K on Instagram.
Okay.
1.2 million accounts reached in the last 30 days. That's what I care about.
Right.
So when you're trying to hire a social media manager, first off, you need to email me or Lou.